Well, welcome to Bourbon Writers, and tonight we're talking backup, and not backing up the truck, backing up your bourbon or backup bottles. I have seen, countless videos lately about people talking about what backups. So, well, even though it's not our original idea, I will credit SLB Drinks for giving me this idea. We want to talk about our backups and how I've come to have backups and how I've actually determined which one's going to get backed up. I basically have two categories of bourbon that I back up. My daily sippers, and those are bourbons that I basically have downstairs and go through faster than a lot of the ones on the shelf back here. Now this is a working shelf, it's not just for show, I do drink them, but my daily sippers I go through faster, so I generally don't want to be out of one of my daily sippers. So what determines a daily sipper? For me, it's simple. I like it. I've liked it for a while. I've liked it long enough that I want to back up when that bottle goes out. I don't want to have to oh man, I would really like this or that, and I'm out. So I usually try to get my backups at a good deal. I'm always shopping for the best deal, but I do have backups for my daily sippers, and I have about 5 of them. First up, a longtime favorite of mine, Cooper's Craft Barrel Reserve. Now I just think the Cooper's Craft is just such an excellent bourbon for the money. It's widely available, and you say, well, if you can get it anywhere, why do you have a backup? Because I don't want to run out. It's that simple. It's affordable, so I keep a backup of it. It's a daily sipper. One of my favorite daily sippers. Second up is a new one, Green River Wheated Bourbon. Now, I've only had this, I would say, less than a month. I did a first pour series on it, and I was so intrigued by it and liked it so much, I thought, wow, if everyone else likes this as much as I like it, it may not be around or be difficult to find. I really didn't know when it first came out on the shelves. I do see them everywhere. They're readily available in North Georgia, and at the mid-30s, they're a great deal. But I've got a backup of the Green River, and that's my backup right there. Third on my list is I've kind of gotten into finished bourbons lately, and when I tried the Blue Note Crossroads, I kind of fell in love with it. It's crafted in Memphis. It's 100 proof, and its finished is toasted French oak. And we also have a review of this on the channel, and I just love it. I just think it's great. It's usually right around 42, 41. Sometimes you can find it for $39.99 if you're lucky. I just think it's a great purchase, and even though I have no problems finding it, I've got a backup of it because it's one of my daily sippers. Fourth on my list may kind of surprise you for those that have watched the Whiskey Row series that I've done, blinds and different tastes. I'm a big fan of the 1910 and the 1920. But as far as daily sippers go, and this is my 5 best daily sippers that I have backups for, I really go to the 1897 more than I do any other of the other 3. So I decided a while back, as I was really kind of draining the bottle, and I got this for my birthday. And it was one of the best birthday presents I ever got. And it's now one of my daily sippers, and so I have a backup of it. Now, I can find this one, but I do shop the price for this one. I always try to get it under $50. So if I see it under $50 and I don't have a whole lot of stock, there you go. I've got a backup. Fifth, last but not least, my favorite cast strength bourbon, and it just happens to be a wheater, Maker's Mark Cast Strength. Now I've done several tests with this, and that always comes out favorably. I just love this as an everyday drinker because it's cast strength, but it's only 110 proof, so it's not crazy like the Elijah Craig or the Larceny barrel proof is. It's very drinkable. It doesn't drink hot. It's very enjoyable. It's a little bit sweet. It's a lot wheat. So you got the sweet wheat going there, and it's become one of my daily sippers. And because of that, I have a backup. So these are my 5 daily sipper backups. And you might ask, well, Mike, you got a lot of fancy bottles on the shelf too. Aren't any of those you have backups for? Absolutely. And we're going to get to that. First up, something I've been into for a while, and this is my 3rd bottle or 2nd backup, is the Henry McKenna 10-year. Now, not everybody loves the Henry McKenna. I do. I think it's just such a good flavor. It's got such a smoothness and maturity going for it. And it's different from everything else I drink. And it's one of my favorite 10-year bourbons. I won't tell you it's my favorite 10-year bourbon because that's still coming up. But I do love it. It is a bottled in bond. So everything good about the Henry McKenna tells me I want a backup when I empty this. Number 2 on my list is not that exceptional in the fact that you can't find it anywhere, except for the fact of the batch. This is batch C922 from last year. Pretty much everyone would agree the best larceny barrel proof of 2022. Now, when I did a first pour of it, I thought, like, man, this stuff is like crazy good and it's crazy proofy, but I just like, you know, and I heard a lot about how the differences, at least with Heaven Hill on the Elijah Craig and the Larceny, how the proofs can vary a lot from batch to batch, or should I say, the batches can vary a lot. And I said, well, this is so good, and people tell me this is such a bargain. I went out and probably within a day or so bought another bottle. I actually did a video about it because the first bottle I overpaid for it. Yes, I did. The second bottle, $60, $59.99. So I have a backup, the C922, and when I open that, I'll probably get the B523. I heard that's really good. Third up on my special or hard to find bottles, and that is what the second list really is. The first 5 was the daily sippers. The second 5 is really the ones that are hard to find, and when I find a backup, I buy it. And that would apply to John J. Bowman Single Barrel. John J. Bowman is my favorite single barrel currently. I just love the flavor of it. I've done several videos with the John J. Bowman. I put it head to head with like the Blantons, and it beat the Blantons. It would probably beat most single barrels that I have behind me, hands down. I just think it's a great bourbon. And occasionally I will see it on a shelf, and when I see it for like $59.99, which is my sweet spot for buying it, I buy it. I probably have 3 of those unopened right now, just because they are hard to find, and it might be 6 months before I see it again. So yes, I've got multiple backups of John J. Bowman, but I only buy one. I save the others for other people, right? 4th on my list, used to be really hard to find. Now I'm seeing them everywhere, but it doesn't change the fact that when I started collecting them or started making them into a backup, they were hard to find. But that's not the reason I keep a backup of it now. I keep a backup of it now because it is my favorite 10-year bourbon, hands down. And that would be the Eagle Rare 10-year-old. There are a lot of 10-year-old bourbons out there, but for me, what you get in flavor and value and unique taste, I'm a big fan of the Eagle Rare. I've always been a big fan of a lot of the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and certainly the Eagle Rare is one of those that I'm a fan of. So I always have a backup of the Eagle Rare. Last but not least, kind of unusual one. If you've been watching the channel from the beginning, you probably know what it is. It's not in the Buffalo Trace family. It's not in the Wild Turkey family, the Heaven Hill. Ethan Allen. It's not in any of the Ethan Allen stores. It's not a regular distillery bourbon at all. It is the Widow Jane Decadence. The Widow Jane Decadence is what got me interested in finished bourbons to begin with. It is a 10-year-old bourbon from the Widow Jane Distilleries up in New York, and they finish it in premium maple syrup barrels, and it gives us such a unusual finish and sweetness to it. And I mean, it doesn't taste like a infused or flavored bourbon. There's none of that to it, but that hint of maple syrup in it, man, it's killer. It's just really good. And it is my favorite finished bourbon of all time. So I've got a backup of it. So that is my 10 backup bottles. 5 sippers, 5 hard to find, and right now I think I'm pretty happy with it. So we hope you will like this show and will subscribe and comment and tell us what other ideas you'd like for us to bring. We have this 5 series. This is kind of a 5 plus 5. Kind of we cheated a little bit, didn't we? But we always want to come out with something new that you might be interested in. So leave that in the comments. And as always, please drink responsibly, never drink and drive, and we'll see you next time. It's not in any of the Ethan Allen stores.